Good evening. In a landmark decision marking the most dramatic U.S. military action of his second term, President Donald Trump authorized a series of B-2 Spirit stealth bomber strikes deep inside Iran. Vice President J.D. Vance has since branded this approach the Trump Doctrine. Tonight, we unpack the origins of this doctrine, the execution of the strike's codenamed Operation Midnight Hammer, and the reverberations across the globe. In early June, Iran's supreme leader refused international demands to halt uranium enrichment at its underground facilities. Intelligence estimates indicated Iran was on the verge of producing weapons-grade material within months. In response, President Trump announced a calibrated plan: exhaust diplomatic channels for 2 weeks, then, if Tehran remained defiant, employ precision strikes against nuclear sites. On June 22, 2025, at approximately 2:30 a.m. Iran Standard Time, 7 B-2 Spirits, supported by over 125 aircraft including F-35 and F-22 escorts, tankers, electronic warfare jets, and reconnaissance platforms, descended on 3 hardened facilities, Fordo, Natanz, and Isfahan. Simultaneously, Ohio-class submarines launched 24 Tomahawk missiles to sow further confusion. Dubbed Operation Midnight Hammer by the Pentagon, this mission represented the largest operational use of the massive ordnance penetrator, a 3,000-pound bunker buster. Over a grueling 37-hour round trip, the bombers flew at low altitude to avoid radar, used terrain masking, and executed a sophisticated deception plan, involving decoy flights toward Guam. General Dan Kane, chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, later revealed that Iran's air defenses never tracked the bombers. "It appears that Iran's surface-to-air missile systems did not see us throughout the mission," he said, underscoring the stealth capabilities of the B-2 and the thorough planning behind every phase. Vice President Vance has distilled this approach into 3 core tenets now touted as the Trump Doctrine: define a clear American interest, pursue diplomacy rigorously. If diplomacy fails, deliver overwhelming, precision force quickly, then withdraw. This framework aims to reconcile Trump's America First base, traditionally wary of foreign entanglements, with the strategic necessity of containing nuclear proliferation. Proponents argue it brings clarity to an often erratic foreign policy record. Critics say it retrofits a one-off strike into a sustainable doctrine. From a technological standpoint, the mission was a tour de force: radar-absorbent stealth, nighttime ingress exploiting darkness to reduce infrared and visual signatures, terrain masking flying low in valleys to stay beneath radar horizons, and decoy operations with several B-2s and tankers fanning toward the Pacific as feints. The coordination spanned the globe. Tankers took off from Guam and the British territory of Diego Garcia. F-35s provided electronic warfare cover. Submarines lurked undisclosed, and reconnaissance drones relayed live targeting data. While the strikes achieved physical destruction, U.S. assessments claim extremely severe damage at Fordo and Natanz. European intelligence suggests Iran's enriched uranium stockpile largely survived underground. In Beijing, Chinese strategists are now reevaluating an isolationist U.S. posture they once assumed was returning under Trump. According to the Financial Times, China is accelerating military drills near Taiwan and seeking tighter Russian ties in response. Israel hailed the operation as a signal of shared intelligence and strategic cooperation, while Gulf states welcomed the curtailing of Iran's nuclear ambitions. Conversely, Russia condemned the strikes as unilateral aggression, and the Uni called for immediate diplomatic engagement. Back home, Trump's approval among Republicans surged. Nielsen polling shows 82% support among GOP voters, but notable figures like Tucker Carlson and Steve Bannon cautioned against potential mission creep. Critics, including Senator Rand Paul and Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, decried the absence of a formal congressional vote, arguing it skirts the War Powers Act's requirement for legislative authorization. In today's Pentagon briefing, Secretary Hegseth defended the legality under Article 2 of the Constitution, asserting the strikes responded to imminent threat indicators of planned Iranian attacks on U.S. forces. Trump insists that diplomacy resumes immediately, with envoys set to meet Tehran later this week. However, experts warn that without robust inspection regimes, Iran may simply rebuild its program in secret. Should talks falter, Pence's team has hinted at follow-on options: cyber operations against centrifuge control systems, targeted strikes on ballistic missile sites, or economic blockades enforced by naval patrols in the Strait of Hormuz. The B-2 strikes may prove a watershed, ushering in a doctrine where American power is wielded with surgical precision and swift exit strategies. Yet lasting stability hinges on the diplomatic follow-through. Only time will tell whether the Trump Doctrine becomes a sustainable framework or fades as a one-off spectacle. Thank you for joining this analysis. Subscribe and hit the bell for continued coverage on this evolving story.